And joining us, Matt Hougan. He is CIO of Bitwise Asset Management. Matt, welcome. I'm going to quote Matt Hougan to Matt Hougan. There are now more than 180 public companies that have added Bitcoin to their balance sheet, according to BitcoinTreasuries.net. That sounds like a lot.
It's a down payment. I think that number is going up. You know, some of these companies are those so-called DATs, digital asset treasuries, that just buy Bitcoin for their balance sheet. Mackenzie is right that that momentum is somewhat fading. But on the other side of the balance sheet, you have a broader set of companies that, just like individuals, want to have 5 or 10% Bitcoin. Companies like Figma, companies like Block. I still think that corporate number is going to double over the next year or so. The amount of Bitcoin on the balance sheets are going to go up. And I think there's an even bigger story in ETFs, where the flows, from my perspective, are set to accelerate strongly into Q4. So I am still feeling bullish about this market. I take this pullback as an opportunity and not a setback as we move into Q4.
Yeah, again, pardon the pun, but what's up with that? I mean, I had to do it. Okay, I'm a dad, Matt. It happens. But why are we suddenly talking now about this? All of a sudden, I feel like with crypto every week, there's some hot new meme term that we're talking about.
Yeah, well, they really exploded into consciousness over the last year. Of course, the original DAT was MicroStrategy, or now Strategy, with Michael Saylor hoovering up a huge amount of Bitcoin. A bunch of people noticed that that did very well from a stock perspective, and you saw an explosion of that. To be honest, we probably saw too many emerge, and we're seeing a little bit of a winnowing down. We saw an acquisition of a DAT today that was trading under the value of its Bitcoin shares. But I think people have the wrong perception here. They think these DATs are going to trip over into selling Bitcoin. And I think it's more like their pace of buying is going to slow down. And as I mentioned, they're going to hand the baton to ETFs. So this was a big boom. It's now into sort of a consolidating growth phase. I don't think it's going away, though. Every statistic I look at says they're still buying Bitcoin. They're still buying ETH. They're still buying Solana. Until the data says otherwise, I'm not going to count this trade out.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think to your point, Matt, and I think you might agree with this, it doesn't matter what the asset is, whether it's oil, gas, Bitcoin, stocks, SPACs, CDSs, whatever they are, right? You're going to get a group of companies that see that others are making money, and they're going to rush into that space because it's viewed as easy money. And there's going to be a lot of, I don't want to say bad actors, but there's going to be a lot of sketchier companies. How do we know what's what these days? Because it's a time to be careful in crypto.
Yeah, well, in the DAT specific space, I would say that size and notoriety wins. The companies that are the biggest, are the most liquid, have the most access to capital. They'll be able to take advantage of situations where these smaller players start to trade below the value of the Bitcoin that they hold. So again, we saw an acquisition today with Strive and Semler Scientific. I wouldn't be surprised to see more of those acquisitions. So if I was an investor in the DAT specific space, I would be looking at those larger names at a premium to the smaller names in the space. But more broadly, again, the big story in crypto is institutional adoption. That's still a trade that is gathering steam. So I would look at this sort of Bitcoin sell-off, this crypto sell-off we've seen this weekend, as an opportunity as we move into October, which is historically the best month of the year for crypto. So that's the big picture perspective. On DAT specific, focus on the premier names in the space.